All right, I bet y'all never would have guessed it. We got some more info on this freaking sick, twisted dude, David. Man, this dude, put him under the bus, bro. Under the bus. Put him under the jail and the bus. Man, let's go ahead and get to it. You know who was by? Our boy, Poetic Flacco. What they found in David's phone horrified everyone in the courtroom. Oh, gosh.
What prosecutors revealed they found in David's phone at his court date today made everybody in the room stomach turn. It was horrifying. This degenerate freak really murdered that little girl and thought he was never going to get caught. He thought he committed the perfect crime. He thought, there's no evidence. He cleaned up his tracks good enough. He thought they was never going to find out. He was never going to get arrested. And that's evident by how he was moving.
Oh, he was sitting on a
Celeste
toilet.
was murdered according to officials back in April of 2025. I think she was murdered much longer before then, but if we're going with the official timeline, she was murdered back in April. She wasn't discovered dead until September. He had about 6 months to clean up his tracks, and he thought he did a good enough job. He wasn't officially charged with anything until April of 2026. That means that's the entire year since he murdered Celeste. Now, he knew he was under investigation since September. That means he knew he was under investigation for about 6 months. But, his arrogance didn't really allow him to think that he was going to get caught, because when he was eventually arrested, this dude has so much evidence on his phone, not of what he did to Celeste, but of other things that you would think that if somebody knew or had expectation they was gonna get arrested for something this horrific and knew their phone was gonna be a pivotal part of this investigation, that they would at least clean up their phone. But this dude was so arrogant and so cocky, he didn't even bother to
Nah, he was an idiot. He is an idiot.
even touch or erase his phone or erase illegal things from his phone.
So, a hearing just wrapped up for singer David in his first-degree murder case.
The prosecution revealed details about disturbing digital evidence. Let's get to CBS LA's Rick Montanez with what we learned in court today. Rick, what are you hearing?
Amy, Chris, the hearing just wrapped up within the half hour here, and cameras were not allowed in court, but I can tell you that the defendant, David Burke, was in court today in shackles and wearing that orange jumpsuit. The biggest new piece of evidence revealed, prosecutors say a significant amount of child found on Burke's cell phone.
Bruh. Come on, man. But at the same time, can we really be that surprised, though? Can we really be that surprised? This dude is a freaking sicko, bro. How do you get off on this type of stuff? It's got to be like a brain mutation, bro. It's got to be something like that. Like something's off in their brain. Like how foot fetishes are made. Because in the brain, the part that makes you like aroused, like sexually, is next to a part that associates with your feet in a way or something like that. Something about your feet. And so sometimes when people are born, those parts of their brain kind of merge, and that's how foot fetishes are made. So I've heard, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's got to be something like that happens in these people's brain at birth or something. They just, I don't know, they just like that type of stuff. But all right.
We also want to point out that this all happens one day after the medical examiner's report became public. That is the report on the death of Celeste Rivas Hernandez.
She's a child.
The report says, or I should say the family of Rivas Hernandez is absolutely devastated to learn the gruesome details contained in that write-up. That's according to a family statement. So this report says the 14-year-old girl died of sharp force trauma, but the autopsy was difficult because of the severe decomposition of her dismembered body when it was found in the singer's abandoned Tesla last September. Officials say she died 5 months earlier in April of last year. Burke.
5 months. She was deteriorating for 5 months. That's insane. Like I said about this dude in my last video, he's a serial killer, bro. He's a straight up serial killer. Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I think I saw in one video, he said he's a March baby. That means he's probably a Pisces. So am I. And so is Jeffrey Dahmer. And so is a bunch of other serial killers. Nah, I'm playing.
The suspect, known by his stage name David, was arrested last Thursday. On Monday, he pled not guilty to the capital murder charges. We spoke with a former federal prosecutor just a short time ago here on CBS LA Mornings about this new evidence revealed in today's hearing and the fact that David's phone, according to prosecutors, contains child.
And obviously, we don't know if it's Celeste Rivas's images and videos or something else, but that is a significant offense. Obviously, it helps prosecutors prove the sex crimes, the lewd and lascivious, Penal Code Section 288, but it's also a separate crime in and of itself. And it's certainly the possibility that the feds even step into this case because they typically will prosecute these types of child cases.
They described it as a phone full of child porn. Now, am I surprised that this weirdo who's currently on trial for engaging in inappropriate activities with a 14-year-old girl and then murdering her because...
See, this is what I was talking about. How these serial killer type of people, they like to leave evidence. They like to get that notoriety for doing their dastardly deeds. Like, who in their right mind, if you commit a crime of any sort, and you got evidence on your phone of it, who in their right mind isn't going to delete it? Why? What? You're stupid. You're stupid. You're stupid.
Get away from me.
Idiot. Like, I don't get it. He's a serial killer. He's a serial killer for sure.
That she was going to reveal it to the world. Am I shocked that that person has a phone full of child porn, have gigabytes of child porn? I'm not surprised at all, not one bit, right? Not one bit. I feel like what's even more surprising is that it wasn't deleted or it wasn't gone. He really thought he was safe. Like, he really thought they was never coming for him. There's no evidence more clear that he thought he was never gonna get caught and he was Teflon Don than his neighbors complaining that he was doing too much partying. And this was happening during the investigation. Like, Celeste's body was found. They went to a grand jury. They was like interviewing people, trying to get a murder's charge on him. And he was at his hideout home in the Hollywood Hills partying and having a good old time while they investigating this little girl's murder.
Then today, NBC4 Investigates obtained surveillance video that appears to show the defense attorney near the police scene minutes later. This afternoon, Blair Burke returned to the home where police arrested the singer and made no comments as she left.
For the DA?
One neighbor actually told me that he's relieved that there was an arrest because he said that there have often been parties at this home. I asked if he's heard parties here recently. He said it's an ongoing problem. Either way, on Monday, we're expected to get our first look at David as he's expected in court in person in downtown Los Angeles.
I'm more interested in knowing who the clout whores and monsters were that were still hanging out and partying with this dude, because he can't party with himself. If there were parties, there were other people there. Who were the people that were still comfortable partying with this dude, knowing like he was under investigation for what he did to Celeste? Like, even if you want to say, hey, man, I didn't know that he actually murdered her. I thought it was all lies. But you knew he was still having relations with this little girl, and you were still comfortable partying. The only people who I see really comfortable partying with someone like David are people who believe they are like David, or people who have similar interests or secrets like David.
That's facts. That's facts.
David, which is why I believe, man, even if we can't prove that anybody at that party actually did something, man, they need to be under investigation. Like, they need to be put on a registry, man. David friends. We need to know who his friends were so people can stay away from him, bro. Because it's not like they was partying with him before her body got discovered. No, right? These were parties that started happening after David came back to LA after going to Texas briefly to hide out. This was in the middle of the investigation. There needs to be a list of names that are part of David's entourage and his network of people, because I'm not buying David is doing all these things alone. The same way they try to get us to buy that he murdered Celeste by himself, that Celeste came over to his house on, I think, April 23rd or 24th, and he murdered her, and then she was never to be seen again, and he's the one who did all of this by himself. I'm not buying that, bruh. Especially after I seen the autopsy report and found out exactly what happened. I don't think David was able to do this himself, then hop on a plane the next day to go and party and have an album roll out and start his tour, and nobody was there to help him either hide his body, chop up this body, dismember this body, and hide it for him. I don't think David, who was on an active tour, was actively hiding and moving Celeste's body all across Los Angeles County, bruh.
Just received the autopsy report from the medical examiner in Celeste Rivas's death, for which David is now charged with her murder. And there are some interesting things, and we talked about this before, that...
Look at this man. He looked like a freaking alien. Look at that. Ugh, you could see the evil in his eyes. Look at that. Okay.
We knew that the coroner had ruled this, the medical examiner ruled this a homicide, but we didn't know the cause of death. And the DA said they were stabbed, there was some kind of sharp
instrument was used.
Now we know, and what they're saying is there were 2 wounds in particular, and that they believe, and they use the word may, and the word may is going to be really important, which we'll talk about, that they may be penetrating wounds, which would not be wounds
To
dismember a body.
Right, because of where they are, they believe, is I think the main, and also
and the way they describe it is they describe 2 penetrating wounds, one on the abdomen and one on the chest, man. And they describe them as, they tell you the depth and the length of these, and they say they have smooth edges. Indication seems to me that some sort of knife was plunged into her.
That's what they
and it left smooth
The
edges.
key is the length of the wounds. One is 3/4 of an inch, one is 9/16. So this size wound as the penetrative wound. These are
which
not,
is an indication of the length of the blade.
And also a blade that could not dismember a body, right? This would not be the same instrument used to dismember the body.
Now, the body was dismembered. They describe all that in detail, but those types of cuts to take the body apart would be different than
does the report say anything about the dismemberment or what they believe was used?
They don't say what was used.
No, it does describe it in a lot of detail.
But it's gruesome.
Yeah.
I don't know what your religion is, but this case is proof that some of us didn't come from heaven. Now, we gotta give that up, man. I don't think God had created all of us, man. I think the devil had a hand in some of us being created. Because anybody who is capable of this, truly imagine what just happened here. Stabbed up first off, to take somebody's life by a knife, you gotta have some level of psychoness in you, bruh. To take somebody's life with a knife is quite possibly one of the most personal things you could ever do. It's traumatic. It's not easy. You are feeling their life leave their body with each and every stab. He still will be a disturbed human being if he would have...
Yeah, stabbing is real personal. Real personal. It's one of the worst ways to get offed by somebody, and it's one of the most sick ways to off somebody. It's real personal, and it takes a long time. It's not like the movies. It takes a lot. Sick.
Did it by shooting her. Or, I don't know, drugging her. But to do it with a knife and to feel that person's soul leave their body, it does something to the average person, bruh. The fact that this dude was able to hop on a plane, go ahead and party, have a good old time laughing, great poker face as if nothing happened the day before, then come back and hop on tour and have a tour, and he's playing with coffins at his tour dates, playing with blood-filled shirts at his tour dates, singing songs like Romantic Homicide that essentially describes what happened, but the music was filmed before. The fact that his mental was able to handle all of this tells me this is not a normal human being. This is somebody who we truly have to acknowledge in the likes of Ted Bundy. Because when you see him interact with other people, rather it's on stream or during these interviews, he's soft-spoken, he's charming, has a bright smile. We truly have to start considering, David might be like Ted Bundy. And if he was able to do this so easily, if he was able to conceal this little girl's death for so long, imagine who else he did it to. If y'all think that, after hearing what you're about to hear, of limbs being missing, fingers being cut off, if you think that Celeste is his only body, I think y'all are out of y'all mind.
And so there's a word that's used, may, that it may have been caused by this. The defense is going to jump on that.
Oh, they'll definitely.
Because they're not saying it's conclusive, and it aligns with what we've been hearing, which is they were having a really hard time determining how she died.
Well, look at the passage of time.
As recently as February.
Right. Yeah.
The passage of time to determine this is a long, it's many, many months.
There's also, and it's conflicting, and we still can't quite figure it out, but there are references to finding presumptive positive indications that she had both meth and MDMA in her system.
Although additional screenings showed that to be not detected, but the initial screen said presumptively.
So it seems like there were two tests taken, two tox screens. The initial one detected MDMA and methamphetamine. Subsequently, they did a confirmation test, and it was unclear whether there was MDMA, but methamphetamine, but no sign of MDMA at that second confirmation test.
I mean, ultimately, is that going to matter when you get to trial, like whether or not she was
probably
on
not.
any drugs?
Well, they may argue. They may argue it was an overdose. I don't know what they're going to argue, but they'll latch onto what they can.
That's true.
But look, I covered the O.J. Simpson case. The coroner was on the stand for 8 days in that case. So this is going to be the centerpiece of the case because, you know, what the DA is saying is we have evidence she threatened David that she would expose their relationship, probably in a text. That's the way they make it seem. And that she goes to David's house on April 23rd, 2025, never to be seen again.
Right.
So now the question, what happened? So the prosecutor is going to say he stabbed her to death. And here are these 2 wounds. And then you're going to have the defense coming out and saying, look, number one, you didn't say conclusively, you're saying may. And this is a reasonable doubt case.
The medical examiner also released their reports, and
there's no reasonable doubt. There's no doubt here.
Yeah, I'll be real, bro. Yo, seeing this, man, I don't see how anything other than a death penalty is appropriate here, bro. So they confirmed 2 things. She was missing both arms above the elbows and both legs above the knees. Now, underneath the body bag was a black trash bag that contained the descendants' apparent compiled bilateral arms and legs. They appear to have been dismembered into several fragments. The descendant was in an advanced state of decomposition demonstrated by foul odor, discoloration, liquefaction. Notice approximately 1-inch linear defect on her abdomen and circular.
Laco, I know you didn't just say abdomen.
Defect on her left flank. Now, the left ring and pinky fingers appear to have been mutilated. So this dude probably kept this as a trophy, man. What a weirdo. And I did not locate them during my scene examination, so they're missing. They're gone. She has a tattoo that
I think I saw a thumbnail for someone else's video that was saying that he did keep her fingers. Like, this is some sick, twisted movie-ish, bro.
He's on the side of her right index finger. I did not observe any discernible scars or tattoo. I don't even want to know what that weirdo and sicko is doing with those fingers. But his next court date is in like a week or 2, so we're going to keep on covering this. Let me know in the comment section, what are you guys?
Bruh, this is terrible, man. But, I mean, almost every day I'm seeing more evidence come up about this dude and what he did. So, I'm pretty confident that he's going to get, if not the death penalty, then life in prison. Because this is sick. This is sick. This is a straight up serial killing activity, and this is something we don't see often. This ain't about no beef. This ain't about, you know, no argument, no something came up, something happened, and violence occurred. Nah, this is heinous act after heinous act after heinous act. So, nah, he can't be on the streets. He can't be on the streets. If it was up to me, he wouldn't be allowed to walk this earth. Or maybe keep him alive in torment. But this is messed up, bro. That's a lot. That's a lot. Prayers out to the family of Celeste, and prayers out to any other victims by his hands as well. Prayers out to all of them. Condolences, man. This is effed up, bro. But yeah, that's the video, y'all. I got nothing more to say about this as of now. But thank you for tuning in, man. And if you need some beats, go grab them from my producer page, casetheproducer.com, or Case the Producer on YouTube. And with that being said, man, I'm gonna holler at y'all in the next video. Stay blessed. Peace out.